good afternoon. I'm here on the 121 I did, and we submitted it in our position.
You submitted something that was first page of Exhibit A.
If there was a
First page is literally Exhibit A. Emailed over?
so these are just the exhibits. There's an actual cover letter. This is the first page. Right. This is the decisions followed.
It's just a matter of how we mark it, but I think we should appropriately. Do you have a physical copy?
So I have several copies, but what I'm about to tell you is that our the neighboring properties had issues personally, building as a whole, they're coming to that. So I think we're going to withdraw our position just pending written.
So when it comes to this,
I don't want to say
when do they plan on coming to
I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna. There is a timeline, right? Where they're not.
Go read out.
I would ask them. I would ask the board. We're talking. Yeah.
So we count this possession. What you submitted today, you're pending some type of resolution. The two respective folks. But you don't have to. You don't get correct votes. So you can.
Well, let me suggest this. Make it public record. And if it's worked out and it's resolved, then you can write a letter to withdraw.
I can do that. And
alternative, if it's not, because I haven't seen this, I would, if you agree, I would have the right to respond to it in a later writing.
So that's going to be however you guys want to handle it. I think the way to do it now would be you guys provide review. I would not
I don't know where.
if the board agrees to keep the record open for the sole and limited purpose of you submitting this and you having the opportunity to respond.
Fine.
That's how I think it would be.
would that work? Yep.
Okay, but is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Just so everyone gets an opportunity.
Okay, right, because I don't want to.
No, that's great.
You know?
That works fine.
Open for the sole purpose
How are you?
of a written submission, this from you, and then a rebuttal from you, and then we close the record, nobody has to come back.
Right.
None of that.
That's easy.
Okay, so
I appreciate
no
that.
worries. So then I'm going to give this back to you because
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I tried to reach you. You guys are up and all you're jumping.
Get the signage. 21.
Did you want a calendar?
You're welcome. I'm sorry? Do you need a calendar? Sure. You're welcome. No worries.
Good afternoon. This is the Town of Hempstead Board of Appeals, August 5th, 2026, 2 p.m. hearing. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
Is there anyone in the audience who has not been here before? Okay, so for your benefit, I'll skip the part about adjournments because I don't believe there are any adjournments on this afternoon. So the manner in which the cases will go forward are as follows. The applicant is given the opportunity to present the case. If there is anyone here in opposition, we will then allow the opposition to be heard, and then the applicant will sum up and we'll finish the case. In terms of evidence, you can probably submit almost anything that's pertinent to the application. We're not bound by the strict rules of evidence that we would be if we were sitting in a courtroom. The proceedings are videotape. They're archived so that if you want to refer to them in the future, you're free to do so. We do have a court reporter here, and she will take down all the verbiage. And I believe that's all I have to say this afternoon. Patrick?
Mr. Chairman, we'll begin with case 41626, Elmont, Alicia Wright, variances, height, lot area occupied, front yard setbacks on 3rd Street and Belmont Avenue, construct 2-story addition, 2nd-story addition and portico attached dwelling, demolish existing stoop, also known as 22 3rd Street. Please come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Wright from 22 3rd Street, Elmont.
Good afternoon.
My name is Patricia Line from 22 3rd Street in Elmont.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Patricia Line. I am a resident at 22 3rd Street, Elmont, New York. I reside at the subject property with my daughter, who is the legal owner. I am here today requesting variances for building area, height, and front yard to accommodate the construction of a residential elevator tower. This project is a critical needed reasonable accommodation under the Federal Fair Housing Act. Here are the key facts of our application. I suffer from a progressive mobility impairment. My doctor has confirmed that a wheelchair will be a strict necessity for me in the near future. She has also confirmed that an interior chairlift is unsafe and medically unsuitable due to my severe risk of falls. An elevator is the only safe way for me to access our basement and 2nd floor. I have brought copies of the medical documentation from my physician establishing this critical necessity which I would like to submit to the board for the official records.
We'll accept that.
To safely accommodate the elevator, cab, and an ADA compliant wheelchair turning radius, we would like to construct a compact tower addition. While it requires a minor expansion into the front yard setback, it represents the absolute minimum physical footprint necessary to grant me equal access to my home. Because of the home situated on a corner lot, our property technically features multiple front yard under local zoning code, which severely limits our buildable area. While the proposed addition requires a variance, it utilizes the absolute minimum structural footprint of at least 4 feet 3 and 9/16 by 5 feet needed to house the equipment safely. The code mandated clearly safety zone, structural overhead walls, and guide rails dictate this necessary size. We are requesting a minor height variance to accommodate a code-compliant wheelchair accessible residential elevator. To respect local zoning standard and minimize neighborhood massing on this prominent corner lot, the primary structure has been designed to strictly comply with the 30-foot allowable height limit. To achieve this low profile, our flat roof attic pendulum was heavily compressed to a restrictive clearance height of only 6 feet 2 inches. While this design keeps the overall home within the standard height envelope, it is physically impossible to contain the vertical clearance required for a wheelchair lift within that tight space. A residential wheelchair lift requires a continuous vertical shaft height of 9.5 to 10.5 feet from the second floor landing to accommodate the cab safely over travel zones. A dynamic load-bearing overhead beam. Because the 8-foot second floor ceiling and compressed attic space cannot house this infrastructure, the elevator shaft must breach the flat roof deck near the front exterior wall. This variance does not create additional habitable space, but rather grant relief for a localized minor mechanical protrusion of 1 foot for an integrated parapet wall around the roof, which is a strict safety necessity to safeguard technicians and roofers during mandatory maintenance on the roof. Thank you for your time, understanding, and consideration of our application. I am happy to answer any question the board may have.
I have a few questions. Your house, does it front on Belmont Avenue, right?
No,
Your house fronts on Belmont Avenue, correct?
No, my house front is on 3rd Avenue, 3rd Street. Sorry,
Oh,
3rd Street.
oh, yes, I'm sorry. So I just see that there's this egress window and sidewalk, and I thought the front porch looks like it's on Belmont, but okay, 3rd. So, okay, that helps me because, so the encroachment toward 3rd Street, I'm trying to see the smallest amount. You're not encroaching that much more toward 3rd. When you go from the widest the closest part to third, you're only going a little further with this proposal, right? Yeah. Okay. How many people live in the house now?
Both of us.
Okay. And the house right now has the basement and a single story?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm looking at the plans, and the house is proposed to have, is it 10 bathrooms and 9 bedrooms? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. So that is because our daughter, her daughter, and son, or you call him son-in-law, has multiple sclerosis. So he needs also access along with the family member and caretaker when they're there.
Okay. So one of the things that struck me initially is that you have a full-size building lot here, 60 by 100, which is required, and you do have. But you're asking to enlarge the house more, seemingly more than, I have an elevator in my house for a similar reason. My in-laws live with me and they couldn't navigate the stairs, so we had to put one in. But in this case, how many bedrooms are in the house now?
There are 3.
Yeah, so it seems like going to 9 or 10 bedrooms with 10 bathrooms is a little more than just, accommodating the elevator and otherwise wider hallways. The problem with that here is that the lot area you're allowed to occupy is 27.5%. Now, we do grant variances because obviously people sometimes need it. There are different areas in our town that have different character. When we deviate from the 27.5, it's usually like, someone who needs 29% or 30% coverage. And sometimes that's justified if they're on a smaller lot because they have a family, etc. In this case, you're on a full-size lot and you're asking to occupy 60% of it, 59.7, which is more than double the allowable. And that is an extremely large request. In addition, the request to exceed the height is also one of the more difficult requests to satisfy. Because even if you need the 10-foot ceiling in the one level and the 8-foot ceiling or 9-foot in the other level, I think it was 9, it's still, that's 8 and 9 or 19 feet. Then you need some area for the roof and you need a foot or a foot and a half in between. But there's some confusion here because the plans show that the crown of the road is at 62 and 1 inch, and that some parts of the plan say that the proposed height top is 30, which is 92 and 1 inch. That wouldn't need a variance, but then some other stuff says it's 31 feet, which does need a variance, and I'm pretty sure it's the 31 when I add up the numbers. So a height variance also is a significant request. In this case, it does look like you could achieve the health benefits you need and the ADA and mobility benefits you need without 10 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, and 60% lot coverage. In addition, you could achieve all that without 31-foot height. At the very least, we have to get the numbers corrected because some materials say it's 30, some say it's 31. So we have to do that. But in order for a deviation this great, in order to say, oh yeah, cover 60% of the lot, I don't know that we've ever granted such a request in most areas of the town, but we would need much more justification, just to be honest with you. Because there is no doubt that you need certain mobility assistance here. You've made that very clear, and I completely believe you. But it doesn't seem like 10 bedrooms and bathrooms and 60% coverage. It doesn't seem like it justifies that significant of a deviation from the law.
Thank you, ma'am, for that. So let me go back when you ask about how many people are living there. Didn't want to say how many children my mother has and how many grandchildren, but she does have frequent visitors and people to take care of her as well. I'm sorry to say how many kids, but she does have 5 and I don't know how many grandkids that's there frequently. Do they use the address to say they reside? I didn't want to
No, of
turn
course
away
not. I
from the
understand.
definition. However, when you mention about the bedrooms, that is why it is needed to allow those with medical condition, and they're not here today, so it'll be just my word, that need to be how do you say, have their privacy, because we do have veterans that do have PTSD. So, but leave that aside. That is the reason why for the bedrooms and to give them their privacy with the bathroom. As for the I guess the expansion of the house, I'm not sure if you have the picture of the house in front of you. It actually extend out the side on Belmont does extend already to that. If you don't have it, I can provide.
I'm looking at the site plan.
Oh, okay, the site plan. Let me see
I
if
don't
it
think the
shows.
front yard expansion is
Yes.
necessarily an issue. It's more the amount of coverage and the height. That's really the heart of the big hurdle in this request.
So according to if the plan, it explained why the expansion needed because the cab cannot fit. It's already going to be already small at the front. That's the only space that
Which, you mean for the elevator?
the elevator. Yes, sorry to use the word cab.
Yeah, that's
the
the
only
expansion toward, are you referring to the expansion toward Belmont?
it's on Belmont to Third Street at the front.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
You go ahead.
So the elevator at the front of the house going up, it's saying that to allow to make sure that the elevator, the top, I would say the top of it is not sticking out and be an eyesore on the house. The parapet, which is a wall, that's why the extra foot is there for safety of whoever is on the roof to do maintenance or the roofer to make sure that they're safe. Right now, we can go down to 30 feet where it will be 2 feet high, but to make sure that we have at least 3 feet high so no one will fall off if I don't want to say they fall off the roof. It's a little bit more safety cushion for whoever is on the roof.
So now in my house where we have an elevator, none of ours sticks out of the top, but I'm sure there are some that do. So that's fine. I'm not sure. I think that the part I'm struggling, at least, I'm only one of 7, is not the amount that you need to expand to fit in the elevator cab. That's a perfectly reasonable position to have. And I think your mother has definitely justified the need for an elevator and the other spaces that will allow her to navigate her home. And it's more, I mean, the coverage of 60% is just, it's just too much.
And this is not unique to Elmont, because driving around the neighborhood, I've seen homes already that and I don't know if they've received a permit or not, but it has been already more than, I don't know the numbers, so I'd be lying if I told you I knew the numbers, but you can tell by the property line how far they are to their neighbors as well.
Yeah.
However, you mentioned earlier about the like 10 feet and 9 feet. Dealing with the architect, when you have he had to allow for the flooring. So that takes away from at least a feet from,
Yes.
I should say a foot from the floor. So it's
Yes.
not that the ceilings are going to be that high. It's going to be reduced.
Yeah, the architect is going to, all else aside, the architect is going to have to correct the papers because we don't actually know if the final height of the house, the top of the parapet, is at elevation 92 and 1 inch or 93 and 1 inch. Because some stuff says 92 and 1 inch, but if that were accurate, then your house would take up 30 feet from the crown, which is on the papers as 62 and 1 inch. But on the other measurements, it shows that that amount is 31 feet. So that has to be corrected before anything else is done in terms of what we decide. But again, I don't know. I mean, you can present your case how you want, but I just need you to understand that 60% lot coverage is an extremely large amount of deviation from the law. And, you know, we don't often do that. As to the other homes in Elmont, we have that situation in Atlantic Beach, some of them in Point Lookout a little less, but there are two reasons. Sometimes it's because the lot is so small that even a small house takes up a lot. It also is common in places where there are a lot of homes that were built before like 1930 or so, where they've grandfathered in. And there's some, as you say, that just don't have permission. So I don't doubt there are some that look to take up more than 27.5% of the lot, which is what's allowed under the law.
Lost my train.
So,
So let me go back to the roof. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
For the architect, what he explained before is because the roof is considered to be a flat roof. It's not completely flat like you would think that it just lays flat. So what he did was, or explained, is that part of it, it's a little bit higher, and part is gonna have somewhat like a little slope somewhere on the top because of the drainage. If it's flat, the water is just gonna sit there completely flat. So it has to go, I think it's higher, and then a little bit lower at a certain part, because also on the drawing, he also took off like probably half a feet or half a foot from the crown of the, I guess, the
Yeah.
flooring to make it where I'm losing actually some portion in the back because it has to go where the water can drain at certain part of the roof. So I don't think
Did he
you
say why? Is there a reason you guys just didn't have a regular pitched roof?
Initially, the first design was to have um, like a flat roof where there's no attic space. But when you add the elevator, there's no way for the house to sit at 28 feet and enough room for the elevator with the parapet, with the wall that goes around the house.
If you just
So-
had the elevator going basement, first floor, and the first floor, the top of the elevator is at the ceiling, goes to the second floor, it's at the ceiling, and then above that is an attic space. That's how my house has it. And that, I'm just curious, a regular pitch roof would be much easier. The other question I have, one second, is if that roof under the parapet, if there's a 3-foot parapet, then you have it's a 9-foot ceiling, a foot here for the ceiling, let's say, and then up here is the parapet. I'm not sure how that slight slope is causing you to lose space in the living area, because there's a huge section of, I don't know what's up there between the ceiling, the 9-foot ceiling top, and what's above that. Because, like, for example, in the exterior, it looks like a third level. I know it's not, but there's got to be a lot of either high ceilings, which is nice, or some kind of space in between there. I'm not sure.
No, there's not a lot of high ceiling in the house because of the,
No, she's doing the opposite. Okay.
there's not a lot of high ceiling because of the flooring. The back actually, I mean, if we cut it down to 30 feet, and we'll have to do our best because I've looked at many options of how to use an elevator or add an elevator without the mechanical equipment like the steel, what they call it, they have something that's called the steel compact that didn't work because it says it could not accommodate for a wheelchair. That is the problem, is the wheelchair.
But I
Our-
don't think
Go
the
ahead.
problem with your case is the space needed for the elevator.
Okay.
I mean, because there's so much more here. And I think all that other stuff is what's causing this huge request for the variance on the lot area occupied. You could cut a foot off the height of your building and you won't need a height variance from us. But you still have a giant house that's taking up 60% of the lot. That I don't know the solution for.
So, right, like you said, the height of I don't know if it'll take up half more inches, and you're right, it could go to 30, but maybe 30 and a half, I don't know, because of the mechanical space,
Yeah.
or for the parapet, sorry, is the parapet, the safety is my concern. And you mentioned that it will take up about 60%. Currently, right now, the side that's facing Belmont, which is already at, if I look at the numbers, sorry, I can look at the numbers, it says right now it is at 15 feet 9 inches already from the side. I'm looking at the drawing with the first request, that there's no change, so the house is actually squaring off. It's
Yes,
not,
that doesn't need relief, I don't believe.
it says here requires variance because
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
I know.
not,
But see, those are, just so I clarify what I'm referring to, those are the setbacks in any one side, right? But separate from that, even if your whole house was set back as much as it's supposed to be on every side, it could still take up too much of the lot. So you could be here not asking for any side yard, rear yard, front yard setback, but still taking up, let's say, if you had a giant lot, it's way set back, but you still have 40% coverage, and that 40% is a big ask, a big deviation from what's allowed under the law. So,
and I don't know what the solution, I understand the solution for the roof, but I don't know what the solution could be, because right now, like I said, the side to Belmont is already there. It's already existing. I mean, this house was built in 1938. It's a small house. The rooms are really tiny that she's not even able really to move around. So we're here for any solution that you may have. We're here to compromise. We're not here, we're just here asking because I want my mom to be safe in the house. She's not safe right now. So, and I want safety for the roofers or anyone that's conducting maintenance. Because like you said, about part of the roof is higher and part is lower. And that's because of the drainage on the roof. We want to make sure snow and everything and water does not sit there and not being able
yeah,
to
that's why I thought
drain
pitch
off.
roof made the most sense, but
Yeah, I thought that was too much to be high. I thought it would be nicer to have.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, ma'am?
Um, no, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, it's where we have so much room. And I was letting them know because of so much grandchildren I have, and when everyone come, the bathroom, everybody.
No, ma'am, if you would be so kind as to speak into the microphone.
No,
so
I'm
we can-
sorry, sir. No,
Sorry.
she was asking me anything, and I was telling her because so many grandkids I have, and then sometime, everybody want to come one time to make, sit down and have, a
Yeah.
week out together and stuff like that. And some coming from a far away, from overseas, so they come, and then one person in the bathroom, the next person want to go to the bathroom, and they're holding up, so that's why she was getting to say that, it wouldn't keep that. Everyone to go to the bathroom and can't go have to be making time, marking time, so that's why the bathroom.
Anything else, ma'am? Okay, any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Both of you will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Okay?
Second?
Thank you. Have a nice day, folks.
So thanks
All
a
in
lot.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. Appreciate that.
Next, we have case 41726, West Hempstead Fire District. Special exception to construct a storage building on same lot with and customarily incidental to firehouse with side yard and rear yard variances, also known as 295 Hempstead Turnpike. Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take a seat. State your name and address for the record. State your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Jason Lacombe, Commissioner, West Hempstead Fire District, 295 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Richard M. Bavone, 308 East Meadow Avenue, East Meadow, appearing as the agent for the West Hempstead Fire District, which is located at 295 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead. This is case number 417, which is a special exception to construct a storage building to be located in the south area of the property. Storage training building, if approved, would be 1,600 square feet, which is 50 by 32, one-story prefabricated structure with setbacks of 5 feet off the rear property line. And as you can see, if you look at the site plan, there's like a jog in the property line. It's about 40 feet in length. That setback, there's actually two setbacks to the proposed building. It would be 9 feet for the most southerly portion and 6 feet for the setback, which is closer to the line going west, which is to Sycamore Street, which is about 116 feet away from there. So it's positioned in the rear of the property. Total height is proposed as 22 feet, 6.5 inches at the west property line, and slopes down for water runoff to the east part of the fire district parking lot so that there's no rainwater or water running onto any of the residential properties. For the record, I'd like to just submit for you, these are copies of the 2021 variance that I presented back a few years ago when the district was looking to construct a building which would have been on the northwest corner attached to the firehouse plus a generator. That was approved by this board but was never constructed. The generator was then relocated to the rear portion of the property where this storage building is going to be, if approved, and the actual attached building that I presented back then is no longer going to be built. And that in itself, the reason why they decided to have this prefabricated building constructed was because the cost to do the previous approval was over $2 million. So being fiscally responsible in the district, they decided that it would be less expensive to construct a one-story detached storage and training center in the location that we're proposing today. There will be no apparatus responding from that building due to the location of where it is, because it's in the rear yard of the property. It will be strictly for storage and when training when needed. There is a need for additional storage and training, as I presented in the last variance, and they still do need it. So that's why they're constructing this. They're meeting OSHA standards for new firefighting equipment for the firefighters in the district. We will not create any additional traffic or off-street parking impact on this property and any of the surrounding properties. Listed on page CS100, which is prepared by H2M, the architect of record, the proposed is 42 parking spaces. Needed was 42 parking spaces. What we're proposing is 46 parking spaces. Therefore, although we may have a loss of 9 spaces overall from prior, we're still over parked in reference to the Town of Hempstead zoning code. We believe that we meet the intent of the zoning code with adequate off-street parking and overall need for a use for a storage building to accommodate additional storage and training for the first responders. The use, without a doubt, is for the public, for the best interest in the public at large for the West Hempstead Fire District, and also for the town of Hempstead. Therefore, we're respectfully requesting to construct this prefabricated storage and training building as submitted. And I have the commissioner here in case you have any questions, but that is our case.
You have some very interesting open building permits. If this relief was granted, would you close out all those permits, please?
Yes, we will.
Especially the fruit and vegetable stand?
They will be closed out.
23.
Real estate office? Okay. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Does that conclude your presentation, Mr. Ballone? Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the sitting calendar. Mr. Vallone, you and your client will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once.
Have a wonderful day and thank you very
Second,
much.
You too.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jeez. You can't make this stuff up.
Next, we have cases 41826 to 42126, Wantagh, MCBB Restaurant Group Corp. A variance in off-street parking, proposed expansion of the Irish Poet Restaurant Bar into adjacent space, special exception to use part of premises for outdoor dining, variance rear yard, maintain awning with retractable roof attached to building, maintain 8-foot high masonry wall, also known as 1891 through 1895 Wantagh Avenue. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please take a seat. State your name and address for the record.
For the applicant, Thomas McKevitt, Son Ward Braff Coscignano, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553.
Sean Mulryan Engineering, 1225 Franklin Avenue, Garden City, New York.
Mr. McKevitt, we have someone else who signed in, a Michael Niff.
Michael Niff, he is actually the owner of the premises, who's just singing back with us right
I
now.
would assume he's in favor of the application.
He better be. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Actually, just as we're getting settled, I just gave 3 exhibits to the council, to the board. One is a set of 7 photographs, which I personally took this last Thursday. They are a fair and accurate representation of not only the subject premises, but the surrounding premises as well. And I also gave, at that point, council, the board, 2 previous zoning decisions. One actually affected this property. It is case number 57 of 21. And the other was a case argued last year masterfully by Mr. Benesso in case 350 of 25 that regards the property right next door. So as I indicated, the technical name of this is the MCCB Restaurant Group, also known as the Irish Poet, at 1891 Wantagh Avenue, Wantagh, also known as Section 57, Block 219, lots 45 through 47 on the land tax map of Nassau County. It is in the business X zone of the town of Hempstead. It's located in the east side of Wantagh Avenue, just north of Park Avenue. And what's very interesting about what you consider this to be a strip mall is that every other strip mall that I've seen is essentially a row of buildings or attached buildings with one owner and they lease them out. This premises is actually divided up parcel by parcel. So there's actually 13 different owners that comprise this property. And so, for example, we have like 9 spaces out in front, and it's not shared with the rest of them, those across agreement. But the advantage is, right in back of us is lot Wantagh 5. It's WA5. The town of Hempstead parking lot is immediately to the rear. This is an application for off-street parking, as well as special exception for outdoor dining, as well as to maintain awning with retractable roof and maintain 8-foot high masonry wall. The site was originally constructed in 1961 and has had various office and retail uses. in 2021, in decision which I handed up previously, the board did grant a parking variance for the Irish Poet to operate. And previously, my client was actually the manager of the Wantor Inn for 25 years, which is located just a couple of blocks away. So he's very well known in the neighborhood, very well known in the community, and is really part of the establishment. Since they've opened up in 2021, this application is to expand into the storefront just to the north, which at one point was a coffee and bagel shop, and was most recently an Italian ice and ice cream place. And when you're coming to the expansion of this, it's really not for the restaurant itself, but it's to add a party room to the north side of it. And this be events, for example, like Sweet 16s and birthday parties and weddings and baby showers. And really, in the environment we have, this is really almost a necessity for a restaurant like this to operate. My client was just giving me some information the other day. Over the last several years, his food costs have gone up 59%. The beverage costs have gone up 19%. So when you're trying to go and keep it at a reasonable price and other people go there, to have a room like this is quite important. And just as a commentary, in this township, we actually lost, as far as I'm concerned, 2 institutions in the past year. Last year we had Domenico's, although I'm from East Mill, I call it Domenico's. Now I'm told you're from Levittown, you called it Dominico's. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I've been corrected on that a number of times. But that closed last August, and in July, Piccolo's closed in Belmore. So when you have a family who wants to go and have these family events, yes, it did. Yeah, the landlord raised the rent. Tommy Valenti tried staying there valiantly, and it closed July 3rd. Yes. They were in business for 45 years. Tommy Valenti was a good friend of mine. I held all my family, my kids' birthday parties and communions were both held there, and the landlord raised the rent to such an extent, he had to shut down on July 3rd. So when you're looking at, if you have a family who wants to go and hold these family events, there are just not many places to hold these anymore. And so that's why my client is looking to do this. The current hours of operation at the Irish Poet is 7 days a week from 11 a.m. To 2 a.m. But in reality, the dining room really quiets down after 9 p.m. and the bar really quiets down after 11 p.m. It's actually, it may be, but reality with this crowd, it's open till 2 a.m., but, after 11 p.m., it's not that many people at this point. And so that's really the purpose behind it. So it's really to go and have the dining room to the north. And what's interesting is it's labeled as an outdoor dining room, but it's not a traditional outdoor dining room. Matter of fact, if you look, what's that? Yeah, if you look at photo number 5. If you look at photo number 5, the outdoor dining area is right behind the sign which says dining. So there's actually a masonry wall behind it. What makes it outdoor is there's a retractable ceiling which can open up, make it open to the elements. But when you're in the parking lot, you're never going to see the people dining there. And part of the reason why my client did that was, his feeling was, if you have outdoor dining looking out on a municipal lot and cars have fumes back there, it's just not a pleasurable place to be. So even though it's technically, I'm just saying, I wouldn't want to.
Is it behind the grate? I mean, that estate fence thing?
No. When you look at the right-hand side of the photo, it says there's entrance, and then to the right it says dining.
It's catering to page 6.
No.
Okay. There's page 5. 5 on mine. I think I
I
wrote down the 5 myself.
No, I went to 4 and I just grabbed 2 and it was 6. I didn't know it.
Couture's infatuated with the cars in the parking.
Okay, well, on page 6, you'll see the cars in the parking lot. Pages 6 and 7, that's them. I was there. They're like any other car. But literally is behind that wall where it says dining and that masonry wall, that's where the outdoor dining is. That's where it exists. So again, it is open, and that's our hours of operation. And just to indicate as well, too, the decision I gave you beforehand, which was 350 of 25, that was dated June 27th of 2025, and that's the business to the north, which is now called Craft U. It used to be Craft, but they were in a trademark infringement battle, so now it's Craft U in this instance. And this board actually granted a outdoor seating special exception for that application, and that's more of a traditional one. If you look at it. Remember, if you look at page number 6, you can see a little bit behind actually that grading in photo number 6, that's Craft. That is Craft. And just mention it too is there are different types of clientele. The Irish Poet is more of an older family place. Craft is much more of a younger sports bar. So literally, yeah,
Drive a big black truck?
yes, yeah, that's craft. And they will be having a much later crowd, but it's a much younger crowd. That's where it comes down to. So with me today, I have Sean Moran, who, when this case was determined in 2021, he did a traffic study back then. He has since updated his traffic study for the application today. As you know, Mr. Moran has been qualified as an expert on many times for this board in the past. I ask you to once again continue his qualification expert testimony in today's application. If you do so once again, I'll let Mr. Moran present his traffic study.
Okay. Mr. Mulryan, you have previously been qualified as an expert in traffic before this board on any number of occasions. Since the last time you were qualified as an expert on traffic, have any of your qualifications changed?
No, they have not.
Okay, we will then allow you once again to testify as to parking and traffic.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So in February of 2021, I appeared before the board for the original application for the Irish Poet restaurant, and that was granted. Since that time, the space to the north, which is 1,200 square feet, has been occupied by several uses. Historically, it was once a Subway restaurant. It was a Pipeline Coffee, then it was Daily Roast, and then most recently it was an Italian ice and ice cream shop. That facility closed down, and the applicant is looking to occupy that space to expand the existing restaurant, which has existed at the subject site for the last 5 years, or over 5 years. The subject property provides a limited number of parking spaces in front of the building, totaling 9 parking spaces. The site is one of numerous businesses and restaurants in the area that heavily rely on the adjacent municipal parking located directly behind the subject property. The municipal property is located to the north of the Wantua train station and provides both commuter and non-commuter parking. The commuter parking is in effect until 1 p.m., after which time the spaces become available to the general public without the need for a commuter permit. Our office has collected parking data in June of this year. Our office has previously collected several parking data analysis in this area over the last 10 years. The peak hours of the restaurant occur on Friday and Saturday evening. During these hours, ample parking is available in the municipal lot. The parking collected in June of this year includes the customers of the existing facility, and we believe that there is ample parking provided within the facility and within the area to not adversely affect the other businesses in the area. And we believe that this is a good application. Again, it's a 1,200 square foot addition to an existing building and an existing use that's been there for over 5 years. And we were opposed by the neighbor on the last application, and as a sign of good neighborhood business, there is no opposition today, as far as we know. So we believe this is a good application, and I'm here to answer any questions the board may have.
And just to really follow up the testimony, again, the prime times when my client will be using this room will be Saturday afternoons and Saturday evenings, again, for his family events. And that's at a time when I think Mr. Mulryan's study shows that in those Saturday evenings, there are 238 empty available spaces in the surrounding area. So there's more than ample parking to go and do this really minor expansion of the space. And that's essentially my case.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
No one in opposition. Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. McKevitt, Mr. Mulryan, and your client, you will all receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Next, we have case 422 of 26, Merrick, BX Management LLC and BX 1833 Sunrise LLC, doing business as South Shore Mitsubishi. Special exception to use part of premises for sale and display of automobiles. Special exception to display automobiles in the front yard setback on Sunrise Highway. Special exception to park in the front yard setback on Sunrise Highway and Lansdowne Avenue. Waive off-street parking, also known as 1833 Sunrise Highway. Mr. McKevitt, you are sworn in. Just please state your name and address for the record.
For this application, Thomas McKevitt, Son, Ward, Braff, Coscignano. 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553. Before I begin, I do have a number of exhibits to give to the board. The first part is these are actually 7 photographs, which I took on Friday, which are fair and accurate representations of the surrounding area, as well as subject premises. In addition, I have 2 board decisions, one which is from case 529 of 17 from 2017, and the other is from 1995 in case number 337 of 1995, which deal with the subject premises as well.
We'll accept those in evidence.
Thank you very much. So, to get to what this case is about, this is the infamous old Treehouse restaurant on Sunrise Highway in Merrick. And I think the Treehouse will finally have suffered its death if this is granted today. The name of the technical business applicant is BX 1833 Sunrise LLC. The location is 1833 Sunrise Highway in Merrick, New York, also known as Section 55, Block 150, Lots 72, 73, 75, 89, and 90 on the land tax map of Nassau County. Also located in the Business X zone of the town of Hempstead. Located on the south side of Sunrise Highway and the north side of Lansdowne Avenue in Merrick. And if you notice, when it comes down to the east, Sunrise Highway and Lansdowne actually come to a point on the eastern side of the property. That's why they parallel come into it. Case 422 of 26 is for a special exception for the sale and display of automobiles. Special exception for display of automobiles in the front yard setback on Sunrise Highway, and special exception to park in the front sound setback on Lansdowne Avenue, and also the waive off-street parking.
Okay, Mr. McKevitt, how do you ask for special exception to park in the front yard setback and at the same time ask for a full waiver of parking?
Very easily, because this is how the building department classified this. Because all the spaces we presented are in the front yard setback, the building department takes the position that we have no available parking spaces. However, when you do the calculation, according to the formula, we are required to have 18 spaces, and we're actually already providing 20. So even though we're providing 2 more spaces than we need, because they're in the setback, the building department says we have 0.
And those spaces that you're asking to park in the front yard setback are not cars you're going to display, not spots you're going to display cars in.
There are approximately 6 spaces we'll be displaying cars in, according to the site plan, and the rest will be parking for employees and customers. If you notice the site plan, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces for display on Sunrise Highway.
I have the radius map, but I don't have that. Why don't I have a site plan? Oh, wait, I think I found it.
The site plan is more notes than it is site plan at the end of the day, with all the notes and all the permit history. So, but just to go through the brief history of this property.
Can you just tell me which ones are going to be actually parking?
It's actually well, it shades in the vehicle display, so it's actually almost right in the middle on Sunrise Highway.
I see it.
See, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the crosshatched area.
And so these are the only 6 spots on that lot that you're asking to display cars in?
Correct.
And the rest won't have any cars displayed or stored?
No. It is just for the parking of customers and employees.
Where will the other cars, are these the only 6 cars they're going to have for sale at any given time?
No, what it makes it interesting is my client, first of all, has other Mitsubishi dealerships. So he's got them in Queens. He operates a number of others where cars will be done as well too. And just to give the board some information, there will be a future application because he actually owns some property to the west. And at some time we'll bring an application at that point in order to have do it, but not at this time.
Is the property he owns contiguous?
It is. There are 2 things going on the radius map series. Yes, there is one that you look at continuous. There's immediately to the west, which is an auto repair facility. And just step back. There will be no auto repair at this facility.
Okay, but he owns lot 27, 8, 9, and 30.
Correct.
Okay.
And there's current auto repair. And he also owns 24, 25, and 26.
Okay, but right now.
Right now.
The application is to display 6 cars on that property and nothing more.
Correct. And if you notice, actually, according to site plan, I think we fit about 11 or so inside the, but we fit a lot inside the building as well. We fit about 11 inside the building.
11 what?
11 cars inside the building.
Inside.
And also, just back up, we're not taking down the building. We're using the building, which has been up there for literally almost about 90 years. So, and the building has good bones. You know, when you look at, and let me just say, the building is an eyesore, and it looks awful. It has the treehouse closed in 2011, and this has been nothing but an eyesore in the Merritt community. And people have held, that's it. It's been a mess. The treehouse closed in 2011. And just to get back up, how we got to this point, what's interesting is, the original building was built in 1930 as a refreshment stand. And eventually, a restaurant permit was issued in 1951. And in 1954, the town board issued the permit for used car sales. Now, remember, it's before 1957. So there was no requirement for parking at the restaurant. So from that date until like 2011, the restaurant operated with not a single off-street parking space. And that space was filled with used cars. As a matter of fact, I do have additional one photograph I want to show to the board right now. This is a Google Earth photo taken from October of 2012, which I took off this morning. And if you'll see where we're looking to park those cars, that's exactly where they were parked, probably from 1954 until 2012, in that exact location. And the treehouse existed without a parking space. Now, in 1995, the treehouse was looking to go and enclose an outdoor dining area and make it into a party room back then. And in cases 337, 338, and 339, granted on October 25th of 1995, this board granted a variance for 0 parking spaces, allowing the used car lot to operate when 100 off-street parking spaces were required.
Wow.
Yes. So goes on, the treehouse closes in 2011. And then another person in 2015 tries reopening the treehouse. Now, what happened was the building department had inspected. As a matter of fact, the person may be very close to me today who inspected it and realized that what they had essentially done was they had rebuilt the place completely in the middle of it. So he determined that was a new construction over 50% that needed a CO. So instead of operating off of that CO, then what had to happen was they had to go back for a new hearing. And that was held, granted October 28th of 2017 in case 52917. And I not only handed in the decision, but also a copy of the site plan, which was approved by this board at that time. That time, they actually had 25 spaces provided when 74 were required. And the layout is almost identical to what we're looking to be there today. So, and the difference was that was going to be a busy restaurant, open late at night. And if you talk to people in the neighborhood, the treehouse was a rough place, open till hours of night, lots of police calls. We're going to be open. Our hours of operation for the the new car place is going to be Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And besides storing 6 vehicles and outside and whatever you can fit inside in some office, what else? Repairs?
No repairs.
Auto body?
No repairs. No auto body.
Okay.
He's currently moving his location from the Freeport South Shore Mitsubishi to become now South Shore Mitsubishi in Merrick, and he already has a new facility which he built. What's the address in Merrick?
120-126 Merrick Road, next to the recreation.
Right. So he's already built a brand new modern repair facility. That's where those cars will continue going today inside the village of Freeport. So that's where all repairs will take place, not in Merrick.
And when you guys fix up this building, obviously, I guess it already has all the setbacks it needs because it's all over the place.
It's right.
So it won't be coming before us on the building.
The building's exactly the way it's been for years. And for what it's worth, when
you get your permits to fix the building, you're not going to need relief from us.
footprint, building remain exactly as it's been. Again, the building has great bones. And we're going to keep it exactly the way it is. Believe it or not, they knew how to build them back 90 years ago. And they're still, to this extent, that's what we're going to do with it and keep it at that point. He's going to have only 5 employees at any one time. He'll have a total of 10 employees, 5 at any one time. So when you look at the parking structure requirements, he'll have 5 employees and 5, 6, 7 cars for customers buying cars. So we actually think it's going to be a fairly empty lot for the most part. Again, we're just taking over the configuration as we found it. Interesting enough, we did meet with a couple of the neighbors beforehand, and just to allay their fears. And, this is one thing which is happening all the time with these cases. I don't know how we adjust with it, but every time when people see we're requesting an off-street parking variance, they think we're changing the parking restrictions in the area. And maybe we just want to put in the future, not changing parking restrictions, because I think that was essentially what everyone's concern was. Yes, I talked to Dr. Jones and 2 neighbors here. We're not changing the parking aim whatsoever. We don't need the parking in the street. Unlike the treehouse, which need all the parking, we don't need the parking. We have more than enough parking in the space. We're not touching the parking there. Obviously, it's a challenging area because people still today, when they're going to the train station, will park in this neighborhood and cross the street, go to the train station and cross the street, which is a problem. But again, we're not operating. And again, the great thing is, during the week we close at 8, but no more late night parties, nothing more than that. So that's really what it comes down to.
And Mr. McKevitt, the only place to enter and exit that lot
Is Lansdowne.
is over there. Okay. And then the last thing is, I don't see a sign here, and I guess you'll apply for one, because that's always, it's less of a concern given you only, because the thing with the cars in the front yard setback on Sunrise always concerns me if you can't see to pull out. And the signs often have the same issue, but I guess there is no sign, or you'll go to zoning or the building department when you decide on a sign.
Yeah.
There's none right now, right?
Right, exactly. And for what it's worth, I guess from the resident's perspective, under the ideal world, we would not pull out Lansdowne where there's some houses over there. We all know the New York State Department of Transportation, to put a curb cut on Sunrise Highway would take 2 to 3 years on our best day, and all likely, they probably wouldn't approve it at all.
I was gonna say, there's no intention to apply for one though, right?
Because I don't think they would grant it.
But is there any intention to?
No. My client's not going to spend $100,000 in engineering costs for something which isn't going to be approved anyway. But I think what it really comes down to is, if you look at the Freeport location, where it is right now, I suggest you ride by there. I did ride by the other day. The building's gorgeous. It's glass, it's white, it's new. That's exactly what he's going to do to this building. Obviously, he wants making people do it. And again, this has been an eyesore for Merrick for 15 years. I think it's something that, number one, is going to look nice and presentable. But number 2, no late night parties, no police, no crowds. And number 3, virtually no traffic for a dealership like that. So from those perspectives, I think it's really a plus for the community. I have had my client meet with the neighbors. He's going to communicate with them. He wants to be a very good neighbor. He really does. If you look at his other locations, he runs a good operation.
That concludes.
That's my presentation, yes.
Anybody else like to speak in this matter? Come up. Have you signed in?
Oh, he went. I like you, Fred, but they want you over there, so.
Yes, I do. Dr. Fred Jones, 2279 Gerard Place, Merrick. I will oversee the location, and I applaud them for, I'm the vice president of the Merrick Civic Association. We applaud the treehouse being decorated, redone. So we're excited to hear this. My biggest concern, being the homeowner of a house on Gerard and Lansdowne, on the corner house, I want to just be reassured that the parking variances are not being changed for Gerard and for Lansdowne, because it's a little bit hectic. We have a lot of neighbors on Gerard that have little children. We want to make sure. I've been reassured. I spoke with Robert and Tom before the hearing. They reassured us, but I just wanted the board to reassure me and one of my other neighbors that there will be no change to the street parking on Gerard and Lansdowne.
We don't have the
Okay.
We don't have
the ability to grant that.
As the vice president of the Civic, I applaud the change that is coming to Merrick. So I look forward to that, but as long as there's no change in the parking, I'm going to be happy with that.
Yeah, they're just asking to not have the obligation to provide more spots on their property. But they don't, nothing having to do with what's allowed on the street.
If that's, as long as we can say that, then I'm happy with what I hear.
And say it.
Okay.
Okay.
I thank you so much.
You.
Again, once again, I'll say, there are 20 physical parking spaces striped out. We're using 6 spaces for display of cars. That leaves 14 spaces for 5 employees and customers. Now, unless he is doing really, really good, and he's got 3 or 4, people lined up to go and buy cars with high interest rates these days, that's not going to be the case. So, I mean, again, when you look at it with 5 salespeople on his peak time, on a Saturday or Sunday looking at it, we do not envision people will ever park on Lansdowne the streets, where the intention is keep them all in this lot.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McKevitt, Mr. McKevitt.
Keep it.
McKevitt, it's Kevitt on this one. We do have a letter in opposition. I'd like to show it to you and see if you have any comments.
Yes, Mr. Owens actually showed it to me before the meeting, and I think one of the things what you see from it is, number one, I think there is confusion that according to the notice, we're asking for, it appears from the notice, we're deficient parking spaces. We're really not when you go and you look at the side yard setbacks. And they also, again, without looking at the site plan, asked us for setbacks. If we honor the front yard setbacks, you can't fit a single car in the place because the lot triangles in at that point. It's just a very oddly designed lot, how nature has it. And actually, for what it's worth, when I went through the records, there used to be lots of parking. Sunrise Highways was widened in the 1940s. So before then, the restaurant may have had parking, but once the widening occurred, took it out. So the lot is what the lot is. But again, number one is we're not creating any inconvenience or additional parking neighborhood, number one. Number two is we'd love to comply with the front yard setbacks, but it's not physically possible the way the lot's designed. If we did that, then we'd probably have 6 or 7 cars, and then we would have to park on the ongoing streets. I think everyone agrees none of us want to park on the next door streets. None of us.
Will you require any action from the town board?
Not that I'm aware of. No. We asked for Mr. Carnaval, and because, again, this is just, for the display of those vehicles at that point, it does not require a town board case. We asked him before we began this journey, because frankly, it took us 9 months to get here through this board. If I went through town board, we'd be sitting here till who knows when. Yeah,
Understood.
yes. That's my case, Mr. Chairman.
On a personal note, I would hate to see that dilapidated building turn into something beautiful, because I always speculate in my mind, when are they going to do something with the building? It's just an eyesore. It's a horror show.
It's the size of the property make it challenging. That's the problem. When the state condemned the widening Sunrise Highway, makes it very difficult, and I, again, pull my client from being able to make this work.
Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, can I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. McKevitt, you and your client and you folks who have signed in will all receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take a break.
Yes. Yeah.
side? Yeah, it's a little delicate.
What's that chair there?
Mike's got a case of 1, 2, 3.
Who does?
Mike, he's got laryngitis. Can you imagine?
That's not good.
Chris is gonna do it.
What kind of case?
It's a subdivision, big one.
Oh, yeah? Post?
Oh, yeah. Half the world.
How many units?
It's like 45.
Oh,
Single
really?
family home.
Single family? Where?
Torkins.
Oh.
None of them are kidding.
Oh, the poor guy.
I know. You know Mikey too, like he loves to talk.
Oh, I know.
These are other things here.
Existing one until sorry.
I'll put the middle next to me. Inside the space here.
I'll just put it there.
These two.
Didn't you prepare for the board as well?
What? These are for the board. So where'd the one with the happy birthday sign go?
No,
She took it already? Bill, you gave the secretary a bunch of these already?
Yeah,
One of them had the happy birthday card.
yeah, I know. I told him that's the one that goes to the chair.
Okay.
One of the board members, right?
It's the chairman's birthday today.
There's no money in there, right?
There's no money, there's no money. And here's the letter of recommendation.
Oh, good.
Last time you mentioned that when they adjourn us, it's gonna be his 80th birthday. So I told him.
Nice touch.
Work in your room.
That's it. You guys do a good job.
You got one of those like exploding.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Kinds of shit comes out. A pop-up building.
I like that. Pop-up building.
Pop-up building, huh?
Jeff will tell her. Stands up. You open it up, dude, stood up.
Oh, yeah.
In the album.
I like that.
It's a great album. Still have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, when you open the album. Everybody buys albums. That's the lot of people buy it.
Are they?
$40 a piece.
Yeah, right?
Some of them are real expensive.
Slide that one. So be careful, that's gonna collapse. I mean. Just make sure it's not too close to this one, so we switch the slides.
Ah, there you go.
still on your side, you're right there.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, they were still happy. Yeah, that's what, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why we think we should try. Everyone was join in.
I was gonna say. This is bad. I always make sure my wife doesn't let the hearing.
Ideally, we want that. Efficient guy. He's the head of all this stuff since I was driving. Right. My school experience. My parents were only. Very, very well.
Five towns buildings. Yeah.
I saw it. You have to stand here. But then, if there was other office, you basically see from must be something. Oh, no, I sent it. Oh, you sent it? Take some more shots while you're dashing.
All right, Javier, let's get going here. You have a piece of it? You have a board for that? No. Yeah, there's a board of it, yeah.
Mentioned some boys at PTSD and going to cold plunge is very beneficial. Wow, these are all journals. I mean, oh, whatever. Just a rendering.
Also, you can open this up so people can look at it outside.
You open
On the outside.
David, why don't you come up? I'm gonna stand.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people standing in front of me. Next, we'll be calling case 36426 Woodmere, 121 Franklin Partners LLC. Variances, height exceeds number of stories, front yard average setback, rear yard, construct 4-story office building with parking below. Special exception for place of public amusement, assembly and amusement, use of rooftop amenities, variance in off-street parking with insufficient stall size, demolish existing building, also known as 121 Franklin Place. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Please take a seat and state your name and address. I know.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. William Benesso for Celli DiCantarana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, 121 Franklin Partners, LLC. Seated to my right is Mr. David Steinberg. He is a principal involved in this application. Also here today with me are our experts, Mr. Barry Nelson, a real estate appraiser who has been recognized on many occasions by this board as a real estate expert. We have Mr. Wayne Muller of R&M Engineering, and a transportation engineer who has also been recognized by this board as an expert in traffic and parking. And we also have our architect, our project architect, Mr. Stanley Mayerfeld, here to provide answers to any questions the board may have regarding the project design. The application before the board this afternoon involves a redevelopment of property for a parcel that is just over 34,000 square feet in size in the Business X district on Franklin Avenue in Woodmere. If you look over right behind me, you'll see a photo of the existing building there. It is a 4-story, 3.5 stories above grade, about a half story below grade, but a 4-story former nursing and rehab building that has been vacant for some 4 years. It's a very old building, really not a building that can be retrofitted in any way to make it into a modern building. So the proposal before the board is a complete redevelopment of the site. raise this building, and in its place, they would build a new 4-story office building, which will be the headquarters for Mr. Steinberg's business, and we'll get into that in just a few moments. The relief required from the board is substantial by the numbers, but I think when the board hears the application, you'll find that the actual impact of the variances sought are minimal. We need height and number of story variances, as 2 stories are permitted and 30 feet of height are permitted. This building at its highest point will be at 64 feet 10 inches and 4 stories. We require a front yard average setback variance, but that is only because of our basement parking, which extends to within 2 feet of the front property line. The actual first floor property setback, building setback, is 20 feet. The rear... No, the basement area that would extend into the setback is below grade. In my conversations with Mr. Carnival, the setback requirements, at least from what he told me, the setback requirements apply even below grade. And frankly, the fact that the only thing we're using it for is parking, you could almost say it would be a special exception because we have parking in the front yard setback. We really don't have building in the front yard setback except for the foundation walls providing support for the parking area. So, but be that as it may, that's how it was denied. Our rear yard setback is 2 feet, albeit, again, behind us is a 3-story assisted living facility that has a large rear yard setback variance, which we don't think our development, once you see how it's tiered, will have a negative impact on that. We have a special exception for a place of public assembly and amusement. That relates to our 4th floor, which is all amenity space for the tenants of the building, for the occupants of the building. It's not really public assembly because it's intended strictly for the occupants of the building, but nonetheless, from a parking perspective, they required us to calculate it at that standard, and from a use perspective, they labeled it public as a place of public assembly and amusement. And again, we'll get into how that's being used in detail in a few minutes. And then we need a variance in off-street parking with insufficient stall size. The parking requirement for the building based upon those calculations for both office and public assembly is 267 spaces. We are providing 137 spaces, the vast majority of which are 8.5 by 18 feet as opposed to 9 by 18 feet. You're permitted to design some of your building with 8.5 by 18, but we exceed the amount I think we're at 49% in terms of the number that.
How many spaces is the building department acknowledged that are legal, so to speak?
None, I guess, none, because, well, and then again, they didn't call it, you're right, they didn't call it a waiver.
Correct.
But at 18, like I said, the vast majority of the spaces are 8.5 by 18. So we do exceed, we do exceed the number. Do you have that number, Stanley? This is Stanley Mayerfeld, our architect.
Stanley Mayerfeld, 17 Brock Court, Spring Valley, New York, 10977. I believe the town's code for parking, an 8.5 foot with parking spot is up to 15%. In this type of building, I believe the thought is that this is not, people aren't coming in and out the whole day. People are coming in the morning, they're parking, and they're leaving in the evening. So I believe the code is up to 15% of the total spots can be at 8.5 feet. We exceed, we're over that number. 49%.
You don't know the exact number. Out of 267 spaces required, how many of them qualify as being legit?
85%.
Yeah, right.
No, not.
I guess whatever 15% of
20 spots.
20 spots are
Would be-
satisfactory.
Yes.
Okay, so
20
20 of our 137 spots are permitted.
What happened to the 267?
No, because you're allowed 15% to be 8.5 by 18, as opposed to 9 by 18.
138 spots, so 50% of them are good.
15% would be about 20 spots.
But he said 49%.
Well, 49, we are at 49%. We have 49% of our spaces are,
What is you gave a number 267
Required.
that's the parking requirement
required.
based upon the square footage of office and the square footage of public assembly.
So of that 267, 20 spaces are
Fully compliant,
fully compliant.
right?
Thank you.
And the remainder are short by 6 inches in width.
Yes.
So
Wait a minute, Mr. Vanesso.
At a 267 spots, if you're looking at from that number, 15% of 267 is 40. So if we had applied, we are fully compliant in the number of spots, we would be able to provide up to 40 spots at 8.5 feet. I gave you a number of 20 spots because we're only providing, we're required to have 267, we're only providing 137. So 15% of 137 is 20.
I see. Thank you.
So that's the relief required. I'm going to introduce Mr. Steinberg now because he is a principal. Would you please indicate what your relationship to the building and the project is?
Sure. Hi, my name is David Steinberg, 1007 Broadway.
Can you bring it a little?
Sure. David Steinberg, 1007 Broadway in Woodmere. So I'm the Chief Investment Officer of the Hill Valley Healthcare Company, which is the principal owner of the applicant. So Hill Valley Healthcare is a national operator of senior care communities, that's skilled nursing communities, assisted living facilities, long-term, what they call LTACs, which are long-term acute care, a little higher acuity than nursing homes, and also psychiatric hospitals. Our company operates over 110 senior communities across the country. We're responsible for over 10,000 lives and employ over 8,000 employees across the country. This building, our proposed building, is going to serve as our corporate headquarters here in Woodmere. It's an administrative home. It's not a care facility, and it's not going to be a place where we market our communities to outside. It's purely administrative, corporate kind of use.
So by that you mean it's not used for marketing. You're not going to be doing advertising in the building, so to speak, for products. You're not going to be bringing prospective people in to see your wares, if you will, and it'll be strictly for your administrative staff, and the amenity space is strictly for them.
Correct. Yeah, there's not going to be any families coming to preview a potential nursing home or assisted living facility at this location. It's not a marketing location. It's purely our corporate headquarters where we have our accounting staff, a lot of data and analysis, investment people that are headquartered there, regular working business hours. We'll talk about more about that.
How many of those are there?
Right now, so let me get to that in a second. So today, our company currently occupies around 6 separate suites on Broadway. We have 114 desks spread out across 6 different retail suites on Broadway. Some on the first floor, some on the second floor of Broadway. We call this our corporate headquarters, but the reality is that it's fractured, non-contiguous, and it's, like I said, spread across multiple suites that we can't function as a single unified office. So we purchased this property, 121 Franklin Place, to build a first-in-class Class A office space. As I'm sure you hear all the time, the people that are working in our office are all local. Mostly, 95% of them are local, live here in Hempstead Township, other local areas. And to attract talent to stay, to work locally instead of going to the city, which everybody hates going to the city, for all the reasons why we very well know why nobody wants to go to Manhattan anymore to work. But the reality is that the offices in Manhattan do provide an amenitized, high-class experience, and to keep our employees local, and for other businesses to want to be able to incentivize to keep local business owners to keep their employees local, we need to provide comparative experience from an office perspective as they'll find in Manhattan. So that's on the amenities and the space of the building and the size and the clear heights of the ceilings all have to, we wanted to match that experience, and they shouldn't feel like they're losing out by not going to the city from that kind of experience. So our goal is very simple, is to really deliver a beautiful, well-maintained, fully landscaped, first-class office building for our company and the local employees that work here. So just to walk through the actual building itself, the basement is the first level, the first below grade parking level, and then
If I may,
Sure.
before you get to that, just to answer Ms. D'Amato's question about the number of people that will be present, you've indicated you have how many desks present?
Currently, we have 114 desks. Our plans that we'll put up in a second show us a total of 141 desks on the floor plans that we have right now.
And how many employees would you expect to be present at any given time in the building?
I have it on my presentation.
Okay. You don't want to veer from that.
Yeah, okay.
So
Let
the
me.
plans that say 141 are accurate. It's not someone transposing 114 to 141.
No, yeah.
Something I would do.
141 desks that we have right now. Right.
Okay, so below grade is the basement.
Below grade is the parking in the basement. Ground level is also a parking garage, so it's a covered parking garage.
Sorry, in the handout you have, if you want to follow along, you'll see that each floor is depicted in the handout. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So the below grade, that's on the third page, I think, or the second page?
Second page. Second page.
Yeah, P1 is the below grade parking garage. There's a ramp coming down from the first level parking. It's on the left side, and the right side is a ramp going back up. You have a small area just to get to the elevator. And some staircases, some storage. So there's not a lot of square footage of actual space in the basement area.
It's like Pac-Man. You come in the one side, you wiggle around, you go out the.
That's how parking garages are. Yep.
And then you've got a total of 77 spaces there.
On the ground level. So the ground level itself, as you could see in the front, is a 20-foot setback. That's as per the code. And then there's a fully covered garage on the rest of the ground floor. Again, there's not any offices or any kind of space really on the ground floor either.
Okay, I'm just using this and that. So the entrance for that garage, which is on the left, is that on where is that on when I look at the site plan?
The only access to the property is from Franklin. It is the southernmost.
I got it. So when you come out of the garage opposite Franklin, you stay on the property and left, like, I'm just trying to look, I'm looking at the site plan now to transpose those. So if I enter the garage on Franklin, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yep.
I mean, I know I enter the property, but do I enter the garage on that side?
You enter a covered aisle that goes down a ramp on the as you're looking at it on the handout, it's on the left side, and on the in terms of directions, it's on the south side of the building, the southerly side of the building.
So when I pull into the property on Franklin, that's the same side as that entrance I'm seeing in the basement?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so when I exit on the opposite side of the garage up, then I guess that's where I'm gonna.
Coming out on Franklin also.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing where I loop around, but I guess I'll see that.
Excuse me,
You want me to come up and show you?
No, I'll get there.
Mr. Vanessa, excuse me, I inspected the property. I'm looking at the old building there. Where do you, according to that, it's on the right side where you enter. In other words, it's fenced off, and then there's a whole right area where there's no building, and it seems there's a cutout in the street.
Where you're going to enter is this end of the property.
Isn't that other building right against you?
No.
Our immediate neighbor does have some other type of parking access, driveway access.
Not part of the building.
That's not part of the building.
My question is, where are the entryways?
Sorry.
according to what I saw, and I took pictures, on the, I don't have the new building, obviously, I'm just looking at what's there, there's a fence up, and there's a big area on the right side of the building that you're looking at. The one, not the new,
No.
yeah, like, see,
That one to
yeah,
show.
on the right there.
So right now, as you see the car pulling in, right?
Wait, I want to see this too.
That's your residence, but my point is you enter on the right side of your building.
Correct.
Not the left side.
Right.
That's
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So where is it, how is it
How
going
it's
to be
going to be.
when you build the new building? That's my,
The new building,
Answer a question, because like.
sure.
Building is on the right.
Yeah, on the old building, it's on the right side right over here, right? The way we're gonna build this is that you're gonna come in around right over here, and then you'll find parking on the first level or go down to
Show
the,
them on this.
you'll enter right over here.
Wait,
Stanley, you're in the way, so,
Get out of
get
the
it, yeah. No, you can knock the whole thing down, go around, you can knock the whole thing down. You'll come in over here, you'll have a choice to go down a ramp to go to the lower level, or stay at this level, depending on where there's parking.
Level, the first level will sort of be like open on.
On stilts, yeah, well, we're gonna,
That's what it looks like now.
yeah.
Like from what I could see, because I couldn't jump the fence, but it's all fenced off, but I could see that, like, the first floor is basically to support beams and places to park.
No, currently, okay, so currently, this is a full building that's here. There's no parking underneath here at all, right now. There's no parking here. This is a full there's no parking here. There's 24 parking spaces behind the building.
Yeah, on the right, there's a big area, then you can see to the back, but I couldn't.
There's no parking below grade currently right now. We're gonna excavate, and we're gonna build a parking garage below grade, and then also have the rest of the building on stilts, so that the first floor, the at grade is also parking.
So there'll be 77 parking spaces below grade, and then there'll be 61 parking spaces at grade, where the building is on stilts. And if you look at P2 on your plan, you'll see the only building aspects other than parking on that level are the vestibule that contains the lobby, stairs, a package room, some other administrative stuff, and then the elevators up. And then there's another staircase, bulkhead, if you will, there as well. But beyond that, it's all parking, and the rest of the building starts at level 2, which is page P3. Do you want to?
Yes, I'll continue here, yeah. So page P3 and P4 are the only 2 floors which have the office space. And that's where our occupancy is going to be, our pure level of occupancies are on page P3 and P4. As you see, P3 is built out like mini suites for different business units to sit. P4 has a more open floor kind of layout. There is so this is designed as a single tenant kind of building. As you could see, there's like on page P3, you could see on the left side, there's like an open to below, there's like a balcony kind of layout, which is typically only found when you have a single use kind of tenant occupying 2 floors, where you have open, like an open balcony kind of area that connects the two levels together. And this is the only 2 stories that we're occupying for the use of the office.
And you fully intend to have it only be your company?
That's our intention, 100%. And that's what I mentioned before, that the 141 desks, if you count the desks, the chairs that are here outside of the conference rooms, and the lounge areas, that's the count that's on the floor plan right now.
And likewise, the rooftop amenities, like the cafe, the gym, no intention of allowing non-employees,
100%
like,
not.
giving gym memberships?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yes, that's my next, we'll go to the next P5. Right, so P5 is an amenity space for the employees of our company. It's not at all meant to be whatsoever for outside occupants. We're not renting this out as like a gym membership or anything like that. This is purely an amenitized space for the employees of our company. There's an outdoor pickleball court, there's a terrace, there's a lounge area, there's like a cafe area with a small prep kitchen. There's a cigar lounge, some storage.
and there'll be a locker room, a gym. Again, this is solely for the use of the employees. What I would really want to reiterate for the board is that although they count this floor towards our square footage, there are no humans that are duplicative from this floor to the floors beneath it. So all the humans that we're counting for as it relates to parking and who's occupying the space are all found on pages P4 and page 3. P5 is the same people that will be at their desk for an hour a day, maybe at the gym or whatever it is, but it's not extra occupancy.
And just looking at it, you can also see that the fourth floor is significantly smaller than floors 2 and 3 in terms of building area. It's probably less than half the size of 2 and 3, and then you have the large outdoor area with a terrace and the pickleball court and just a nice sitting area for employees to sit outside when there's nice weather, if they want to eat outside, or sit out there in the evening, whatever the case may be.
And also important to note is that we've designed, if you look at the renderings of this amenitized space, we designed it specifically to look like a bulkhead, right? So it's set back from the rest of the property, and the exterior facade of it looks different than the rest of the building. It looks like a bulkhead that you'll find surrounding an elevator bulkhead or a mechanical equipment kind of bulkhead.
And that's to cut down on the massing of the building. We know that we're 4 stories and you only typically permit 2 in this area, albeit there's a 5-story building right next door to us in the form of the Five Towns Rehab and Nursing Center. But the design is very thoughtfully implemented to break up the massing of the building. That 4th floor, as noted by David, is set back. It's a different material, different look. So it breaks up that wall effect that you would get if this was just a straight up 4-story building.
Maybe it's obvious, but those 114 desks at the 6 locations, I realize presumably you're moving them all here, and then you just have your leases up on those, or do you own those?
We're tenants. We're renters. So.
And that building next door that's shown on P6 as an illustration of the relative height.
Yep.
What is in that building, and do you know when it was?
Rehab. It's the operators of the nursing home that used to be here. They built that building next door to us. It's called the Five Towns Rehab Center, I think.
Yeah, Five Towns Premier Rehab and Nursing Center. It was
10 years ago, maybe. It's been around for quite a while.
Hold on.
And it operates as partially nursing home too, or just the administrative?
It's a nursing home, full-on nursing home, hospital, yeah, ambulances, all that stuff. Yep. And Mr. Nelson will discuss more about the height issues. I'm not going to get into the technical parts of that, but it's a 5-story building.
And that is a much more massive looking building, not only in terms of its size, but it does have a straight facade, which is somewhat imposing. It's an attractive building, but it does not have the design features of this building that really break that up and make for a much nicer look. No, I'll let you.
Just to the height of the parapet, yours appears to be 48.6, and theirs is 72 inches.
Barry, let Mr. Nelson discuss the height comparison to make sure you're doing apples to apples, but yes, your initial observation, I would read it that way also, but.
No, I'm just, go ahead, keep going.
The 1050 Central Avenue, which is that nursing home, was approved by this board in 2015.
Okay, so the reason why we have the height that we have with only 4 stories above grade is because we're trying to provide 10-foot clear ceiling heights inside of the stores, inside of the building. It's not because we're occupying more square footage or covering more of the property than we're allowed to. It's really just about being able to provide a modern laid office building with modern specs and modern layouts so we can provide a comfortable place for people to work that's competitive with other areas like the city.
The actual height that is experienced, given after all the construction is done, inside the room, is it the 14.6 that the building will show, or is it?
Well, no, it's going to be less than that because that's not showing the mechanicals. The 14.6
Yeah,
is,
that's what I'm
we'll lose
asking.
4 feet for the mechanicals.
So, okay, so you'll be at 10.6.
And we're trying to get to 10 feet.
About 10.
Rough, it'll look like you're at a 10.6. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get to, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so just to put the new building into perspective relative to what's there right now, in terms of, a lot of this will be addressed by Mr. Nelson and also Wayne, discussing the traffic, but the current property that we're placing is a vacant nursing home building. It's dilapidated. It has no real remaining utility at this point whatsoever. The clear heights of the ceilings are around 7.5 feet. The mechanicals are totally washed out. There's flooding in the basement. It's just a disaster. It needs to be demolished and rebuilt. It's an eyesore as it is right now. It's been vandalized. We put up a fence as soon as we bought the property almost a year ago, but it's just a total eyesore on Franklin and in Woodmere in general. It's 4 stories right now, and it totals 53,000 square feet. If you compare that to the amount of square footage that we're occupying for office, so we're occupying 33,000 square feet on those 2 stories for office. The current structure of the nursing home is 53,000 square feet, and it provides only 43 parking stalls versus the 138 parking stalls that we're proposing. By any measure, the proposed building is significantly smaller than the current footprint as measured by square feet, and we're providing almost 3 times more parking than the old structure, the old nursing home provided. Just very, very briefly touch on the heights. Our highest point of our building is lower than the highest points of the adjacent building. And the top of the regular portion of the adjacent building is also taller than the regular portion of our building, not including the rooftop penthouse. The adjacent building is 5 stories, and ours is 4, including the penthouse. So by nature, our use is low intensity. On a typical day, at least 10% of our employees are traveling, visiting the facilities across the country, and we do not have really any significant visitor traffic. We don't have families coming into this headquarters office at all. None of our facilities are in the tri-state area. They're in Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Washington State, Wisconsin. So we don't have any visitors coming to this corporate headquarters, and we're not marketing again our communities from this location either. The amenities, as I mentioned, that's our commitment. We're making a commitment that the amenities will be for employees only and will not be open to the outside public. And so at any given time, an employee or a human occupying our building is either at their desk at one of those 141 desks, or they're upstairs using the amenity space or in a conference room. There's not overlap between who's in the conference rooms, who are in the desks, and who are in the amenity space. And so that's why when you look at this, as Mr. Vanessa mentioned before, when you look at it holistically, the relief that we're seeking as it relates to the parking really needs to be taken into account with how the building is actually being proposed to be utilized. So again, we're taking a vacant, dilapidated former nursing home, a property with essentially no remaining utility, and replacing it with a major private investment, a beautiful, best-in-class office building that provides the parking, the space, and the amenities a modern business needs to attract and retain talent right here in the town of Hempstead.
Can I ask you, please, on the top level, I'm reconciling the floor plan with the exterior, and I know you mentioned earlier how you try to make it look less imposing and a parapet-like look on the walls. Am I correct in understanding that the terrace portion and the pickleball portion, is the I don't know if you call it a wall, is the wall surrounding that, is that the shorter wall and that taller wall is set back where the things that have a roof on them are?
No, that's what you're looking at. That's the front of the building.
Front of the building that you.
Where, let's say, on the right corner of that building is where the locker room is. Right?
This is which one?
If
With
you
the
take
locker
a look
room
at
is.
page P9.
Locker, cigar lounge.
No, cigar room's on the other side.
Yeah, that image is the front of the building. If you look at P9 in your handout.
Okay. So is
see-
everything that's shown on the top floor, including the terrace and the pickleball? I thought the terrace and pickleball didn't have a roof on
It's
them.
not.
It doesn't.
You're looking at the front side of the
Doesn't.
building, so the back of
Yeah.
the building here.
In the back, if I can approach.
Hold on, yeah, or let me get there and see if I can. Okay,
So this is the Esplanade. This is the assisted living facility on Irving. This is the building. You'll see this is the fourth.
this is a rendering.
Right.
Okay, this is what I was asking.
This is where the pickleball area is, and this is the terrace.
So wait, this
This
right
is the
there,
front of the building.
wait, see this?
Yeah.
That is over here?
Yeah, if you look at
Okay, because that looks set back on this one.
If you look here, you can see it's set back here.
Oh, okay, so that, I got it. But this on the back, I'm just saying it is a lot less imposing now. Okay, thank you, Mr. Vanessa.
If you look at here, this graphical.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Vanessa
It a
just
little
showed me.
better, and you can.
And
see
the other
here.
one is set back, I got it
It
now.
also helps to also put into reference in terms of the size of the building relative to the Five Towns Rehab Center, which is this massive structure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building, I have to say.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayerfeld did a beautiful job.
I think
See how much it costs to build, but.
I think it's also helpful to point out for the rear yard setback perspective that as noted, yes, we are 2 feet from the rear property line, but as you can see, the Esplanade extends almost to the property line as well, and the only open area on that on the Esplanade property is parking. It's not like a recreation area for the tenants of the assisted living facility or anything like that. It's purely a parking area, so the impact of having the 2-foot setback and the terrace should be little or no impact.
Would you point again, I forgot, which of those two buildings is the Esplanade?
This is the Esplanade. This is a 3-story building, albeit it's relatively tall.